that long-term thought process towards your health and your well-being, that longevity that so many people talk about, but potentially aren't really acting upon. And I think a lot of that comes down to instant gratification culture that we potentially live in right now, where it's, well, if I'm going to weight train today, then I want to see the results tomorrow. If I'm going to do a bicep curl today, then I want to have Arnold Schwarzenegger arms tomorrow. But the actions that we take today are going to impact the quality of life for the next 30 to 40 to 50 years. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the surprising benefits of resistance training and why it should be such an integral part of your health and well-being journey. We are joined by head coach Stacey, transformation coaches John and Chris, and our doctor of cardiovascular medicine and transformation coach Dr. Jyoti Patel. So today we're joined by the team and we're going to be talking about the hidden benefits of resistance training. So many people are focused on resistance training for one or two reasons: to get stronger or to look bigger. So for males, it may be all about putting on some muscle mass and looking a certain way. For females, it might be about toning up. But there's so much more to resistance training than meets the eye. And that's what I want to get into today.
Yes, I feel like a really big one is injury prevention, and we're not just talking athletes here, I'm talking everyday people, like for myself, I started going on some hikes recently, and there's been times where I've slipped, and I know that if I hadn't been training for as long as I had, and if I hadn't built up a general degree of stability and strength in my muscles and my joints, I probably would have done an ankle or a knee, but because I had that strength, I didn't, we work with a lot of clients with children, and how many people do you know who've bent over to pick up their kid and put their back out, or lift their kid up over their head and put their shoulder out, little things like that. Resistance training and building up strength and stability can really help with, and then from a quality of life perspective, there's also the postural side of things. Like a lot of people nowadays, because of the nature of work that we do, have a really forward head posture. And the increment further forward your head is, it weighs it feels like it weighs a lot more to the muscles and the structures that are supporting it, and that causes a lot of strain through the neck. It causes headaches, it causes tension, so little things like that can really chip away at quality of life. And if you have the correct training and the correct strength and everything, that can really improve that.
Well, there was a client that we were working with recently that kept suffering with migraines and headaches, and then throughout the course of this process, where she's been learning to breathe better and then slowly improving her posture from the resistance training that she's doing as well, those headaches have started to go down. She's not experiencing those migraines to the degree she was before. And in fact, they're far less frequent for her. And I think it's just such a powerful thing. You can control that through the exercise that you do. You can control that through the decisions that you make. And again, who really relates that to resistance training, like lifting weights and going to the gym? Nobody really thinks about that. So I'm really grateful for that.
Resistance training is going to improve your joint and bone health at all stages throughout life. The weight-bearing sort of exercises improves your bone density, and especially for like longevity. As we get older, there is a risk of osteoporosis, osteopenia, especially more in females, sort of after the menopause, that bone density decreases. And doing resistance training will help with that. Also, as we age, there is sarcopenia, so that's like muscle loss. So the more muscle that we can maintain now and grow now, then the better it is to maintain in the future. But again, the more muscle will improve your metabolic health as you age. It improves insulin sensitivity. So even conditions like diabetes are going to be improved in the future if we resistance train now and going further ahead as well.
As we're talking about these things, they're so in the future, they're not the here and the now. They're that long-term thought process towards your health and your well-being, that longevity that so many people talk about, but potentially aren't really acting upon. And I think a lot of that comes down to the instant gratification culture that we potentially live in right now, where it's, well, if I'm going to weight train today, then I want to see the results tomorrow. If I'm going to do a bicep curl today, then I want to have Arnold Schwarzenegger arms tomorrow. But if we think about it from that perspective, the actions that we take today are going to impact the quality of life for the next 30 to 40 to 50 years. And some of the reasons that people aren't prioritizing training at the moment is time, or the fact that they're not able to spend that time with their friends or their family or their loved ones. When in fact, if we work on this now, in 30 to 40 to 50 years time, we won't be a burden on our family and loved ones and children, because we won't be expecting them to look after us. I mean, how many people have gone through Alzheimer's, for example, and how many people have had these cognitive decline as they age, when in fact, what I've seen from research and something that I've been really delving into recently is resistance training can improve BDNF, which actually prevents cognitive decline. And it happens in the here and now, where we can improve cognitive performance on a day-to-day basis, but it also prevents the neurological decline that occurs as we age. And this is powerful stuff. And it comes on the back of resistance training. It comes on the back of working on your aerobic health. Not happening in, they're not going to show up in the next 5 weeks, but they'll show up in the next 50 years. So I think there's so much more to be gained from resistance training than meets the eye. And again, I think that also changes the way we feel about ourselves.
Yeah, confidence is going to be a huge thing. Once we get in the gym, we start lifting, get stronger, feeling more comfortable in that gym environment, we can then train harder, so we're going to get more results, which again opens up a little bit more confidence. And that ability to feel strong and perform well in the gym is going to translate across into everyday life. We're going to feel, more resilient and like we can cope with the stresses of modern life a little bit better. Improve things like that productivity and just kind of day to day how we feel and get through those days a little bit easier.
Again, confidence, looking better, feeling better, taking actions on the things that are actually moving you forwards. Just building that confidence is so powerful. And then once you've built that confidence, I guess that changes you as a person.
Yeah, I think there's so many physical benefits, but there are also so many mental benefits as well, like confidence. But the ability to change your identity is huge. And I can only talk from experience. I was that skinny kid at school, low self-esteem, not very confident. And then as soon as I started picking up weights and started training myself, putting on some muscle, my self-esteem improved. I could talk to people a lot easier. Things in my life kind of started to change, and my identity changed as well. So my perspective and confidence was transformed.
And we work with a lot of people in a corporate environment. So people that working in the city, for example, and going into boardrooms or presenting or in the sales sphere, walking into a room, your energy announces itself before you even speak. So you will see somebody that's coming in with confidence, that's self-assured and self-aware. And then you'll also see people that come in and they're shy and they don't want to be noticed and they're slumped over. Like we see that energy announce itself. And we see it within our client transformations as well, from week 1, where people are really struggling to ask questions, through to week 12, where people are really confident about being a little bit vulnerable because they know it's helping them grow. John, I think that's really powerful. And thank you for sharing that personal experience too. And if anybody's listening to this and thinking, actually, there probably is more to resistance training than meets the eye, and there's probably more that I should be doing about that right now, but I'm not 100% sure where to start, reach out, drop us some questions, ask us questions on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever, and make sure that you start to apply this to your life, because it's not about the here and now. It's about the next 30 to 40 to 50 years, and it's going to benefit everybody around you. But anyway, take care and have a powerful week.